to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. So as I said, we're back in open session. We do not have any discipline motion. So I would entertain a motion to amend the agenda to have us come back into closed session after we're done with the open session. And like I said, no action is taken. Are there any other additions or corrections to the agenda? And if not, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda and the consent agenda simultaneously.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any questions, comments? None? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Payne?
Yes.
Mrs. Corley?
Yes.
Elder Park?
Yes.
Pastor Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Schrader?
Yes.
Mrs. Holler?
Yes.
Dr. Ashley?
Yes, motion passes 7-0. Thank you very much. Normally, we would have public comments at this time, but I would take the moment to give a shout out to our board candidates that are here this evening. Who I see Dr. Halloran here, Mr. Chris Easton. Is Tony here? No? Harsha? No? Okay. Would you like to stand up and, yeah. Dr. Halloran, Dr. Tom Halloran, and Mr. Chris Easton. All right. Good luck. That's all I have to say. Public comments.
Chris Hightower?
I'll wait for you to set the clock. Got you. After last week, I had a lot of people reach out to me, and one of the things that somebody kept stressing to me was that as a black man, it's my job to protect black women, and that stuck with me. And the one thing that kept coming back into my mind was a Bible verse, which is 1 Timothy 5:20, that says, "Rebuke those who persist in sin in front of everyone, so that the rest may fear." And what that basically means is if you see wrong, call it out. So everybody around you sees that wrong and knows that it's wrong, and we need to address it. And I don't feel bad about anything I said last week. But that person was correct, because there are a lot of black women that I have failed. So I wanted to come back up here and take that time to apologize to some of those black women, starting with Ms. Payne, because I implied last week that Kim Corley was the only person that came to our building. Ms. Payne had been in our building, and I wanted to publicly apologize to you. But I also want to give an apology to Dr. Sharon Desmoulin-Karat, who was an assistant superintendent here. And when the superintendent position came up last, we didn't even give her an interview. And now she's the superintendent of the year in the state of Illinois, and one of the final 4 candidates for national superintendent. And a couple of you were on this board and didn't give her the interview. You know who you are. I also want to apologize to Miss Lisa Brooks and all of the other amazing administrators that we had in this district during Dr. Geddes' time that we somewhat chased out. And we didn't stand up and speak for them in the moment. And I know that there's more to those stories, but those women aren't here anymore. There were at least 6, 7 administrative black women. Now we're down to 2. One who just got hired and one who's only been in her position for 1 year. I also want to give an apology to Tiara Brown, who ran for this same school board when there were 2 seats available and placed 3rd. And then when it was time to appoint somebody to another seat, she wasn't selected. Elder Parks was. So let's just be real. There's a lot of black women that I owe an apology to. Also, my sister, Doris Hightower, former president of the DEA. When she ran for re-election, I didn't use my voice to support her. And now she's no longer president. And during Allen's presidency, what was said throughout all of this? What was said? Because we waited until the teachers decided to take a day off. And let's be honest, you already had everything on your agenda that you went ahead and did. See, I knew what the agenda said last week, but there was so much frustration built up that I felt like I had to get that off my chest. But the teachers were frustrated and we had so much time to say something, but we didn't. So instead, we waited until some random day we decide that we're not going to come to work, and the only people that were hurt were our students. So let's just be honest right now. It is my job as a black man to protect black women, and I failed a lot of black women. But I promise you I will not do that anymore, and I will stand up and use my voice, and I will call out the things that I see that are wrong, and I will address them head on. I hope that this board has the fortitude to make the selection for the next superintendent and realize the mistakes they made when they selected the last one. I know some of you weren't on that board. I know some of you were. And some of you were big fans of that previous superintendent when things were good. So don't think now that you're not a fan of hers that we have forgotten, because we need a board full of diverse voices. We need a board that we don't know who they're going to vote for or what way they're going to vote. But if we don't stand up and hold board members accountable, if we don't stand up and look board candidates in the face and let them know we will be here to hold you accountable, then we have failed as members of this community. And I just want every board member who's going to still be on the board to know I'm not going anywhere. I won't be here to make a speech every meeting, but as I said last week, you will see my face, and I will continue to fight for the students that I teach, because I tell them every single day to stand up and speak your voice to power and not to be afraid. So how can I expect them to do that if I'm afraid to do that? So I'm standing here in front of this board again, letting you know we will hold you accountable. And when you do start the process of finding a new superintendent, maybe we shouldn't go looking too far, because we grow some pretty good product here in our own garden, and some of them are still in our building. And the last time we let one get out of the building, they just so happened to become the superintendent of the year. Thank you.
Mary Rockwell.
Evening. God bless Mr. Hightower. I do want to add another Bible verse to yours, is James 4:17, when it says it's a sin to know what you ought to do and not do it. So thank you for speaking from your heart. Good evening, board. It is such a relief to see that chair filled. Thank you, board, for putting the previous superintendent on leave, doing the right thing, and appointing Mr. Hart. I do kind of want to give you kind of a reading of the community. You know, today, while I was out and about and all this last week, I heard people like in the laundromat, in line at the grocery store, talking about the situation with the former superintendent. And in case you aren't aware, none of it was positive regarding her. And some of it was a little bit of indignation at the board's perceived inaction regarding her. Every single person talked about it in a negative aspect, but I believe that you guys are going to change that, and I think you took the first step last week, and I really am hoping to change the feeling of frustration to one of hopefulness tonight. But I think it's also important to realize that your job isn't done. It's not quite done yet. And I want the community to know some of the facts about the former superintendent and some of her claims that she's made, feeling threatened by the actions of others. Now, her feelings are subjective, and I can't prove that any more than she can prove that they're real. But in this case, some of the facts are that she was followed by a student around town in an effort to harass her, and that she was also harassed by giving a solicitation to join a hate group. The way that the FOIA reads to me, that the solicitation originated from Chicago. That has nothing to do with Danville, not the school board, not our community. And the investigation to the student was deemed to be unfounded. So isn't it the policy of the board to do investigations when we place administrators on leave? I believe we've done that this past year, right, Mr. Hart? So I'm asking the board to do an investigation. Investigate her claims. Because in case you don't quite get it, what she's asking is for money in an undisclosed amount to be paid for her because she was harassed here. That has, as far as I know, nothing to do with her job. You know, her reputation precedes her. It's not always a positive one. So you are opening yourselves up to be paying much, much more if all staff has to do is claim that they've been harassed, and you are just going to willingly shell out money without investigating. So please just have the courage to do what is right and just investigate. I could be wrong. Maybe she is entitled to who knows what. But just investigate it, please. I heard a good quote this week that said, if you live small, you die small. Take that to heart. Have some courage. Do an investigation, please.
Anna Kelly.
I'm back. Can't get rid of me. Hello, Interim Superintendent Hart, board, fellow attendees. Yesterday, I received confirmation from Human Resources Department that I was approved for the request for my sick bank donations to be sent out today at the high school. This was a step in the right direction, but I didn't take that decision for granted, hence I'm here again. I'm appreciative, truly, and I'm thankful for the support of the people working to make the change and to see it through. I also want to thank anybody who, whether or not you're able to, would be willing to help others in need. I've been told that they're still working on a greater change with the contract language, and hopefully it can be more impactful for more staff. And I will continue to come here to urge you to make that change. For me, the finish line has never been about receiving days for myself. Since I have come and I've spoken with you, it has been to cast a light on ineffective policies in this district and leadership here. I know that last week you got quite a few minutes of time to reflect on yourselves, the past few years, and the decisions that you've been a part of. Confucius once said, there are 3 methods by which you can become wise. The first, by reflection, which is the hardest. The second, imitation, which is the easiest. And the third, by experience, which, as you know, can be the most bitter. I can imagine that this position of leadership has not been easy on you. The seat which you hold comes with major responsibilities and will test your resolve. You willingly sought this position out, and you swore an oath to uphold governance of this board. Many days, when we teachers, we go into schools with our students, we're approached with dilemmas that our students are facing. And we see those through because it's part of our job that we accepted, and we embrace our ability to spark change in this community. Some days are tough, and I go home, and I have nothing left for myself or my family. But I give it all to the individuals who need it more than I do that day. Governance is an important part of this process of managing an organization or a society, or even my own classroom. Last week, I saw hope that we can get back to governance here on this board. It's being accountable for your actions and owning your mistakes. No one is perfect, and you will gain more respect when you can admit that you've made a mistake and you can own it. Trust me, I know, I work at the high school. Being as transparent as possible in this regard, meaning communicating what you're voting on. Ms. Corley, you're quite good at that. You need to make your individual positions clear for the public so they can better understand your vote and why you feel the way that you feel. It's okay if we don't agree, but I need to understand your positions. You'll be setting the tone and encouraging good practices and effective leadership. You need to give each other respect and accept that you'll have different opinions while still holding each person accountable for their share of the load, the workload. You need to act in an ethical and an impartial manner and uphold the integrity of your position. And lastly, you need to manage the resources as a steward of this community to benefit the community now and for the future. The purpose, the people, the process, and the performance of the community and its schools. This is what you promised to the community when you took this oath, and that's what we're hopeful that you as a board can get back to. I'm thankful that you're here, and I am happy that you are willing to dedicate your time to try to help Danville be the school district that we're all proud to be members of. Thank you for being willing to hear the good and the bad, and to hopefully receive it with grace. Thank you for hearing me and being willing to try to help me to see a change in a policy that has become very important to me. Today was a good day, but not just because sick bank was emailed out for me. I saw that it got emailed out for somebody else too who needed it. It uplifts me to think that we can get back to a point where we can encourage and support each other. Our district's big on AVID and collaboration, so it's nice to be able to teach it as well as to participate in it. Thank you.
Did it? Thank you. That shall bring us to item number 6. The Albert H. Smalls Normandy Institute Research Fellowship International Travel Request.
Good evening, Mr. Hart and board. I'm Jacob Bretz, principal at the high school. I'm here to briefly set the table for a out of the ordinary travel request. Before I turn it over to Ms. Woods and DHS student Bailey Easton to tell you a little bit more. Ms. Lori Woods and Bailey Easton applied for and were chosen as one of 15 student-teacher teams nationwide. So of all the applications in the country, they were one of 15 student and teacher teams chosen to participate in the Albert H. Smalls Normandy Institute Research Fellowship through George Washington University. However, this travel not only includes going to Washington, D.C., out-of-state travel, but international travel to Normandy, France, to research D-Day and the invasion of Normandy. And so with that being quite the out-of-the-ordinary request, we felt it needed to be its own agenda item for discussion, and I am now going to step back and let Ms. Woods and Bailey tell a little bit more about it and answer any questions, keeping in mind that brevity is always good.
We can make the motion after that. It's not a discussion yet. They're going to tell us, or you're going to give us information, correct?
Yes.
All right. So then after that information, we'll make the motion, and then we'll have a discussion and questions. Okay. So.
Well, we want to thank the board and Mr. Hart for having us here tonight, for Mr. Bretz being willing to take this unusual request. When we do something like this, this is very hard to get. I'm not gonna lie. And so you just you do your best, you throw it out in the wind. And actually, it was on my birthday on December 18th. We woke up and found that we were picked in the first round to attend this. I'll be honest, to do it, we've already had to start doing it. What this is we work together as a collaborative pair. We have 2 agendas that we have to do. This grant comes from a man, Albert Smalls, and his goal is that every American veteran buried at Normandy will eventually have a biography. And so as part of that and our part of the application, we had to show that we'd already looked. We knew of veterans there. It was trickier than you might think because we had many veterans attend D-Day, but in about 1948, they started offering to let many be returned home. So there was a Danville High School student who was returned home even though he died there. And then we had to build the resume. Why I looked to Bailey. What she's doing is very hard. You have to be ready. She is writing what is a 300 to 400 level term paper on our topic. Everybody has a briefing topic. Our briefing topic we're excited about because growing up in Danville and having a historic Black community, our briefing topic is on the role of African Americans in the war, but specifically their role in that D-Day and how their role kind of then led towards desegregation of the services after World War II. So Bailey, I'm her advisor on that. We also have a student from GW who went through the process because they can take it as a class. They run it as 2 different programs, and so she's advising us on that. Then the other part of it is our soldier biography. And so, Bailey, you want to tell them a little bit about who we chose? Do you want me to give the name first? So we had several options. Bailey's a little nervous. And one of the reasons I'm very excited for her to do this is that it's hard sometimes for a Danville kid to believe that they're competitive. And so Bailey, FPS has done a lot of work with veterans and a lot of work that it's near and dear to my heart and we're very proud of. And when her brother Isaiah was helping to design the gardens and all of those things, Mrs. Halloran knows, Bailey sometimes got to join us because, you know, he had to bring his little sister along. But she's taken that role since then too, you know, help to fill the freezers at Cannon Place and continue that work that's so needed for our veterans here in town. But besides that, Bailey was the only freshman to try Future Problem Solvers last year. And last year, we knew to be competitive, we had to go for it and try the new part of the competition, the Excellence in Project Management. That thing was a horror show, I'm not gonna lie. That was like, I was like, this is horrible. And Bailey with Cole Montel took it on, and we won. We shared that prize with a team from New Jersey. But in their defense, the 3 other teams on the podium with us last year that made it to the top 4, this is FPS is a curriculum, and they do this as a class. They have a year every day in class where that's all they work on is their project. I always believe our kids, because it isn't though, do have a level of commitment into it. So watching Bailey do that, and I can share that with you later. You can see the final project, but it was tear-inducing at times, wasn't it, Bailey? Like getting that thing together, just because it's a professional level skill, and it was a very different thing than we had ever done. So I knew she had the research skills. I knew we had to have somebody that had a big resume. And she had the international win. I mean, when we talk about the kids we're competing with, the one we laugh about is the girl who is, I don't know what kind of boat she's on, but it must be on a really good boat because it's gone from Bar Harbor, Maine to Bermuda, and she's just traveling and attending an online gifted school through Yukon this year with her parents as she goes up and down the Atlantic coast. So some of their lives are a little fancier than our lives, but you know, Bailey also has done the work, and so we had to have somebody that could show the commitment to veterans and that had that academic resume that would get it. I mean, that's the beauty part of our school. We have a way to address everybody top to bottom, and so that she's ready for that next step and hopefully learn to believe how smart she is, because I think as little sister sometimes of her brother who was super successful, she sometimes worries she's not quite there, but she is.
Okay. So, let's make the motion, and then we can ask her some questions. Okay. So,
I move to approve. Second.
thank you. And the motion is to approve the travel request for the Albert H. Small Normandy Institute Research Fellowship International. Questions or comments, folks?
The
You
name
know,
of-
after
All of them.
I've been to Normandy, and it is an awesome experience. And we did find several veterans from who died from Danville. So I 100% support this activity.
What was the name? You were going to give us the name.
Oh, we forgot that. So we looked at some people who were college and officers. They weren't necessarily from Danville, but then we found Private Leslie Irvin. He was living in Danville at the time. It was the Depression. His family were farmhand workers, and he had to leave school. So our next step, we we've got his military history and all of that stuff and all of those records, and that part's orchestrated. Actually, we're getting ready to reach out to Mr. Denman because I need somebody that understands how the old schools all were, because we think we have a pretty good idea where he went to elementary school, but it's very hard. I mean, he definitely grew up in poverty. And so I think when Bailey and I chose this, we wanted him to be local because we want to bring his story back to the War Museum and back to the American Legion. But we also felt like he was a 2nd Battalion Ranger. He died, if you've seen Private Ryan, that where they storm up to break into the German, that's based on the 2nd Battalions and what they did to get into the German thing. He died, he got offshore and he died. There's a really great picture we found where they show like his group all died. Like they show the whole battalion before they went, and then those 4 were all killed. But they did have his remains and things at least. He wasn't missing in action. But we felt like it was Danville, and we wanted to kind of not necessarily represent the little guy, but represent somebody that probably wasn't ever going to get a voice again.
When will this be, and are the costs for it covered by the fellowship? Are you needing the district to provide the cost? Are you fundraising?
Most of it is covered by the fellowship. There's kind of like a hotel at the beginning and a hotel at the end, because there's no way we have to be out there on June 18th, and there's no, let's just face like that would be too iffy to try and take off on the 18th in the morning and hope life all worked out well. Mm-hmm. So we need to go out on the 17th. When we return, so how this works, from the 18th to the 22nd, we're in DC, we're doing archival work and visiting different sites and working as a team there. And then on the 22nd, we take off on a red eye, or the 21st, but we take off then, and then we go to the 29th. They then take us, we're staying in the medieval town of BOE, and so we're there, and then from there, then we go out and we have all of these insider kind of tracks. There's a lot of things that we get to do on this because of what the foundation is, that if we just went to visit Normandy, we would not get to do. We get to do a lot of archival work. We will then have a ceremony at our soldier's grave and recognize him there and share his story. And then, because we're not like, oh, the invasion of Omaha Beach, they haven't decided yet where Bailey does her briefing, but then she does her briefing. It may be close to BOE because we're focusing on the role of African Americans and the development of something called the Red Ball system, or the Red Ball Express. That was it was one of those things where African Americans really showed a lot of heroism, and that everybody, oh, they're just driving the trucks, but the Germans really did not want food and water to get to anybody, or ammunition. So it turned out to be an extremely dangerous thing that they figured out how to make happen.
Question? Any more questions, comments?
Just, should we approve this? Isaiah's gonna be so jealous. Just saying.
Isaiah is struggling a little bit maybe, but he had his turn at other things.
If we approve of this, are you going to come back and report to us?
That is part of it that we do share, and
I don't want her to say it.
yeah, she will do the report. I step aside here pretty quick. Once you say yes, she writes I'm there as the advisor, and then and that's the other part I'm excited for her for, because she knows how to do it when she needs to. So she's a sophomore. I mean, you have to admit, like, she's accomplished a lot already as a sophomore, and that was why I felt like she was ready to take this next big leap.
Great. Well, we'll find out in about 17 seconds here.
Okay.
So, if there aren't any other questions or comments, roll call vote, please.
Elder Park,
Yes.
Mrs. Howard,
Yes.
Mrs. Gordon,
Yes.
Ms. Payne,
Yes.
Mrs. Schroeder,
Yes.
Pastor Miller,
Yes.
Dr. Ashley.
Yes, motion passes 7-0.
Right, thank
Good luck.
We can do it.
Thank you.
She's really, this is kind of overwhelming, like all that she gets to say.
To be selected is an honor, and to go should be a once in a lifetime, or maybe 10 in a lifetime experience. I mean, there's a lot of experiences in a lifetime, but it should be a wonderful thing. So, yeah, it should be awesome. So, thank you. That brings us to item number. I'm getting there. We just did number 8. 7. We did 6. You say numbers and you'll get one right. Waiver of graduation requirements.
Hello, board. I'm still up here with Mrs. Mitzi Campbell. Or if you want to introduce
Hi,
yourself.
good evening, board, and Mr. Hart, Mitzi Campbell, principal of Kenneth D. Bailey Academy.
So we have a couple items here for you to consider. One, so in general, revisiting BOE policy 6, colon 300 around graduation requirements that does allow students to graduate early, but does specifically state that they must be enrolled for 7 semesters. So the first item is we are requesting a waiver for one of the students we listed is no longer in the situation, but there are 5 students we are requesting a waiver for that are either at KDBA or DAC Middle College who have met district graduation requirements in 6 semesters and would like to graduate this year with the class of 2025. And then the second item being we are requesting a permanent change to the policy that would not only continue to allow students to graduate early, but there would be no semester expectation or minimum number of semesters they must be enrolled, only that they meet Board of Education approved graduation requirements. I will add that this is something that has become more prevalent due to the relaxed graduation requirements from the pandemic that the current sophomores through seniors are still under. I would anticipate this being less of a pressing matter when the 44 graduation requirements that were approved for the class of 2028 continue to roll in, and eventually all students under the previous requirements. However, with students in alternative settings, both at KDBA and Middle College, which are more of a hybrid setting where there is some in-class time-bound seat instruction, they also earn credits through self-paced online and online options too. So I can't tell you this would never come up again because we do utilize both of those alternative programs, and I'll say Ms. Campbell's program is very helpful to the graduation rate at DHS, as is Middle College, and so we want to continue to utilize those programs, but be sensitive if students in those programs finish prior to being here for 7 semesters.
Okay, so what you have before your board is the waiver of graduation requirements, including both of those items, a list of the students and recommendation to make it I guess, policy for the 6 semesters, right? Okay, do you have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Many seconds. Questions or comments?
You know, you feel old when you come around these issues. And I remember when we changed it to require 7 semesters. And we changed it, I don't think it was on the board. I think it was still in the guidance office. But it was changed because of concerns over numbers of students we would lose for attendance and how that would hurt our funding. Is that no longer an issue?
It's not. Funding used to be based on daily average attendance, and now it's based on enrollment. So it is.
It's not an issue.
That's correct.
Okay, well that
And
makes
it's
me
an
feel better.
enrollment within like the first 3 months of school too.
Correct.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? Roll call vote, please.
Just to clarify, on behalf of Alternative, so the students whose names appear before you, who are from KDBA, these students will be 18 this summer. So a lot of times we find in the alternative setting that students have fallen behind earlier in their educational career. So when they get to us, they might be 14, 15 already in the 7th grade, and we're experiencing that in the high school group as well. So some of these students, we're asking that they graduate with their age-appropriate peers. It's not necessarily that they're graduating at 16 or 17. This is their true class that they should be a part of. So I just did want to take a moment to clarify that. Again, that's why we really even have alternative at the high school level, is to catch all of those students so that they have an equal opportunity to graduate.
And that's actually a really good point. And sorry to hold you up. I'll add like middle college at DAC, which our school counselors at the high school use, is designed for upperclassmen, 17, 18-year-olds who are, for lack of a better word, losing steam or have now on the fence of whether they're going to make it or not, and they just need a different setting, and they go out there and they do some combination of online work and in-person college coursework at DAC. And so also with the middle college, these are students who are graduating at age appropriate with their peers.
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Gordon,
Yes.
Mrs. Schrader,
Yes.
Dr. Park,
Yes.
Pastor Miller,
Yes.
Mrs. Holler,
Yes.
Mrs. Campbell, Dr. Ashton.
Yes, motion passes 7-0.
Thank you, Board. Thank you, Mr. Hart.
Item 8. Yeah, it's where you going?
It is still me. All right, good evening, Board. I just would like to confirm the Kenneth D. Bailey Academy 8th grade promotion and honors ceremony for May 28th at 1:45 p.m. in our beautifully renovated all-purpose room gymnasium.
Okay. Any questions or comments or anything? No? Okay, item 9. $2025, it's your head service agreement proposal.
Good evening, Board of Education and Mr. Hart. I'm Kelly Truex, Director of Educational Support Programs, and I'm here with Mrs. Campbell and Hunter LaFay from It's in Your Head. Kenneth D. Bailey has requested that It's in Your Head provide services to all KDBA students beginning February 2025 through June 2025. All employees from It's in Your Head will have a background check. The cost will be $5,760. That's the total cost, for not weekly, for weekly sessions. And It's in Your Head has been working with KDBA students for the past 2 years and have had successful results. And the contract will be paid with Title I funds of KDBA. And we are allowed to use Title I funds for this type of service with alternative school.
May I have a motion to approve this?
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
Yes. For both Ms. Campbell and Mr. LaFave, could you please share what the It's in Your Head work has done to help your students with self-regulation and any of the other social emotional things that have. I just want you to have a chance to brag on yourself.
Absolutely. No, thank you. At KDBA, part of our mission is not to only empower our students to become academically responsible, but also socially responsible. We like to teach our students that although lots of things are going on in the world that's beyond their power, they do have the power to control how they react to those things. So one thing that we've enjoyed having Hunter join us for is the self-regulation techniques, the classes. He pushes into the classrooms and does many lessons with our students that are relevant, that really focus on our student population needs, as well as high interest. Hunter, I'm sorry, I'm just, go ahead.
So we try to teach them the things that are within their control and how to positively influence them, to give them the skills to make better choices. With a lot of the things that we see, these are skills-based things when it comes around to how they feel and how they think and how they react. So we try to give them all the tools that they can to better influence the things that are within their control and recognize the things that are outside of their control, how to let them go calmly and to move on in a peaceful way.
So again, an example about what is the tool, like a breathing exercise or something like
Yeah.
that?
We use breathing exercises. We use different sound techniques. We do tapping exercises, a lot of positive affirmations. We will look at daily habits, mindset training, communication skills. We work to build discipline and consistency there.
Thanks.
Is this open to all students at KDBA?
It is a building-wide initiative, so all students receive these services on a weekly basis.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
You say it's open to all the students.
Yes, ma'am. And in fact, Hunter pushes into the classrooms. We'll combine classrooms, and he does mini lessons as well as teaching the techniques as well.
And you've seen a difference in the students since they started their
Absolutely,
program.
specifically with that self-regulation. They're able to calm themselves down when faced with challenging situations. And the students really do respond to Hunter. I think that's why we keep asking him back, because they seem to connect really well with him.
I love those kids. So, yeah.
Okay, you're about to vote on It's in Your Head Service Agreement Proposal, $5,760. Not weekly.
Correct,
Yeah,
yes.
Not weekly. That is the total cost of it. Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Schrader?
Yes.
Elder Park?
Yes.
Ms. Payne?
Yes.
Mrs. Howard?
Yes.
Dr. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Porter?
Yes.
Dr. Ashton?
Yes, motion passes 7-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Board.
Jordan.
Yes, sir.
Look forward to. Thank you. Should bring us to item number 10, Wall of Fame inductees.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Hart, Board of Education, Mark Bases, here today as the chairperson of the Danville High School Wall of Fame Committee with our inductees for this year. And we have one of them here, Dr. Rokosh is present today. I'll start with him. And then Dr. Artie Travis Lee Travis is not here because he's out east working still, but he'll be back for the ceremony. So our 61st inductee is Dr. Don Rokosh, a distinguished alum from the class of 1968, and he will be inducted into the Wall of Fame for his recognizing his outstanding achievements academically, athletically, medically, his military service, and his community leadership. Dr. Rokosh was a four-sport athlete, like that, a varsity captain at DHS, member of the National Honor Society, and ranked 10th in the graduating class of nearly 700 students. His leadership extended beyond athletics, serving as president of the Student Council during both his junior and senior years, and his peers also recognized his character and commitment to service by selecting him as Best Boy Citizen his senior year. Following graduation from DHS, Dr. Rokosh earned a degree in physiology from the University of Illinois. He then went on to obtain his doctorate and completed his medical training in Columbus, Ohio. Returning back to Danville, Dr. Rokosh dedicated 26 years to serving the Danville community as an independent OBGYN, delivering over 5,000 babies in Vermilion County. His commitment to service extended beyond the medical field, as he also served in the United States Army Reserve before retiring at the rank of full colonel. Dr. Rokosh's dedication to the Danville community is evident in his lifelong standing involvement with the Danville Rotary Club, where he is a past president and currently serves as the assistant governor for the Danville and Hoopeston clubs. His passion for conservation and youth mentorship led him to the ownership and operation of the North Forks Lodge Outdoor Club in Bismarck and the Rainbow River Ranch in Craig, Montana. In recognition of his conservation efforts and support of youth organizations, he was named the Illinois Outdoor News Person of the Year in 2016. Dr. Rokosh's most impactful contribution to the community was his role as a founding task force and board member of the Vermilion County Free Clinic in the mid-1980s. This initiative provided medical care to the individuals without access to health insurance, and it continues today through Aunt Martha's. He also worked alongside the Vermilion County Health Department to reestablish a medical clinic for the community. We are honored to have Dr. Rokosh's extraordinary accomplishments and lifelong dedication to his service with his induction into the DHS Wall of Fame. His legacy as a leader, a physician, a veteran, and community advocate serves as an inspiration to current and future DHS students. He will be, again, the 61st member inducted into DHS Wall of Fame. The induction ceremony will be on D-Day, June 6th this year, keeping that theme going. So Dr. Rokosh is here, nominated by Mr. Terry Hill. Congratulations again. Our 62nd inductee to the Danville High School Wall of Fame is Dr. Artie Lee Travis, a distinguished member of the class of 1974. His career spanned over 4 decades in higher education and commitment to service, and a lifelong dedication to student success. Dr. Travis represents the very best of what it means to be a DHS Viking. As a proud graduate, while at DHS, he was a student athlete again, lettering in football, track, and wrestling, as well as being a class officer. These things helped lay the foundation for a career dedicated to education, mentorship, and advocacy. Following graduation, Dr. Travis also served his country in the Army. He went on then to earn a bachelor's and master's degree from Western Illinois, and later achieved a Doctor of Education degree from the University of South Carolina. Dr. Travis has dedicated over 44 years to higher education, serving as an administrator on 8 different university campuses across the country. Currently at Frostburg State University, where he serves as Vice President for Student Affairs. Throughout his career, he has been committed to fostering diversity, inclusion, and student success, ensuring that every student has the opportunity to reach their full potential. He has developed programs that support marginalized students, improve student satisfaction, and created meaningful learning opportunities for these students. He has spent his career ensuring that students, especially those from historically marginalized backgrounds, receive the support and encouragement they need to be successful at the universities. Dr. Travis's induction into the DHS Wall of Fame is not just a personal achievement, it is a tribute to the community that helped raise him, the teachers and mentors who inspired him, and the students whose lives he has touched. His journey serves as an inspiration to current and future DHS students, providing that with perseverance, education, and service, anything is possible. And again, he will be the 67th member inducted into the DHS Wall of Fame. Talked to him today. He was overjoyed, and he was especially proud that his grandparents would be proud of him, and is a lasting legacy to them. So, and he'll be back June 6th as well.
In case he's watching. Awesome job.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to the community. Doc, you want to say, would you like to say anything?
Sure.
Yeah.
You want me to go there?
Yeah, wherever you, come on up there because the microphone goes online. The tech person said, yeah, go up there. We don't want to miss any words.
Well, I'll try to put them together that make sense. This is a wonderful honor, Mr. Hart and the board of our district, my fellow Danville citizens. This is an award that I never anticipated, I never expected. It is, for me, more than the scope of any honor that I ever thought I would obtain. And so I want the board to know that, the selection committee, and my citizenry to know that. But I became a Danvillian when I was just 13 years old, and my formative years were therefore here in Danville. And I would echo the words regarding the importance and the leadership and the mentoring that Danville High School teachers gave to me. I am here, today with whatever you heard that I may have accomplished, because of those formative years and the teachers especially that were so helpful to me, mentored me, taught me, criticized me, told me I needed to do this, told me I should do this or do that, and I followed them and I did it. I tried very hard to aspire to what they thought I was capable of. So any teachers that are here in this audience today, I want you to know how extremely important you are, even though you may not feel it every day. But I hope these words tell you and explain how important what you just may experience in the future with respect to how important what you do every day, how important that is to the students that you are mentoring and leading on to the rest of their lives. Thank you.
Congratulations again. Great decisions. That was really. Just when I keep thinking that they run out of people to find for the Wall of Fame, and then like every year it gets like better and better and better and better. It's like really cool. Okay, enough of that. Don't talk. Curriculum. Elementary and upper elementary reading. Adaption.
Yes.
Adoption.
Good evening, Mr. Hart, board. Congratulations, Dr. Rokosh. He's helped me out with Avid a little bit too. So tonight we have for you a rather lofty bill for the adoption of some reading materials for all of our K through 6 students. As a reminder, you approved for this school year a pilot. So we've piloted the materials in our K through 6 classrooms for this year. And so we had investigated the year before, decided to pilot this year, and now we would like to adopt those materials. And the price tag, before I give it to you, is for a 4-year adoption, if that helps. And it's for the materials, it's for online access and some professional development. And I'm avoiding the price tag. The price tag is for $491,000, $491,651.25 for a 4-year adoption. And all of that will be paid out of district funding. Again, 4 years.
And you want us to approve that?
I would love for you to approve that.
I can't do it without a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Thank you. Any questions or comments?
How many classrooms? I'm sorry if I missed that.
All of them. So K
K-12?
through 6.
Okay, 6.
K through 6, and it's all the materials that they need to teach reading, the comprehension aspect of reading, and then or the knowledge portion, and all the online access, and a couple or a day of professional development for all of those teachers, or some professional development for all of those teachers.
So there's a training component for the staff.
Mm-hmm.
Any follow-up beyond that one day?
I probably will be back to visit you with some follow-up PD as well.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. It's rather expensive.
Okay, never mind.
Mm-hmm. We'll be back.
Okay.
Do you know if this payment is a one-time payment or like a yearly payment?
We typically we will do a one-time payment. It's generally, believe it or not, beneficial to us to do a one-time payment. Sometimes they will let us break it up. We'll do it over 2 fiscal years, but that just means we pay one time in June and one time in July, over 2 fiscal years. But this is a one-time payment, but generally we get a little bit of a discount if we do that. Where it's really interesting is the shipping costs, which used to be a lot less than they are now. They have really, really gone up.
Roughly how many students will this serve then?
I usually, the way that I always look at our numbers is we look at, I think it's usually November, December is our official counts. But we always do a little bit more because students, these materials now are consumable. Mm-hmm. And so they're not sturdy like they used to be. So we don't typically get the hard textbooks like we used to. So I usually do about 450 per grade level. So, and then you get the online access with that. And then plus that's all of the teacher materials too. So with the pilot, we had a significant amount of our teachers piloted. And so we won't have to replace those teacher materials in those cases. but we do have to purchase for the teachers that did not pilot. So 450 per grade level approximately. And that gives us a little cushion for it as students move in and out, or, you know, just in case students were to lose their materials or misplace them.
So 450 per grade times 7 grades times 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's plus the teachers. So you're saying it's kind of a bargain.
Sure, yes, yes. But I won't be back for 4 years to ask you for more materials, for at least reading.
I was gonna say, did that program.
Yes, I'll be back, don't worry.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, board, you have before you a motion for approval of reading materials for period of time, $491,651.25 is the dollar amount that you are voting on for approval here. If there are no other questions,
I do have one more question.
you may ask it.
Thank you. So this is what we piloted.
Mhm.
Did the teachers love it?
Mostly yes. So this is always a tough question when you guys ask that. We are never ever gonna love anything 100%. They loved this the most. I think our school that probably loved it the least is Southview. However, there isn't anything out there that they loved. We can't find anything else.
Okay.
This is the best that there is for what? Like this, we are the happiest with this out of everything that's available to us.
Okay.
So why would you say Southview was the least happiest? I mean, what was it about it that they weren't as happy as other buildings?
I think it's just, so whenever you get a new curriculum too, so when you think about Southview, they've got the 5th and 6th graders.
Right.
So when you get a new curriculum,
Yes.
there's a lot of new pieces to it. So like if you're a kindergarten teacher, you expect that the students are going to, like, everything's new to them. So a 2nd grade teacher, by the time the kids get it, they've seen it. Like it doesn't take as long for the curriculum to, it doesn't take as long for the 2nd graders to get used to a new curriculum because it's only a year or two.
Yeah, I remember
By the
that.
time 5th and 6th grade, it takes a long time for the 5th and 6th graders, like for that curriculum to kind of matriculate up to them. So it's a little more of an adjustment period for them. So the same thing happened when we adopted our math series. And so we will put the supports in place to really help them and really work with them. But Southview's a really tough, like that's a tough age for when you've got a K through 6 curriculum that you're looking at. Yeah, like they are in a tough spot, but they always work hard. They just know what's coming and they always really work hard, but they're always really good to communicate with us about what is frustrating for them and what they need support with. And we've got Angela Wilson and Mr. Cundiff and Nicole Zoyer that really support that building and getting them what they need to get them the teachers where they need to be and what they need. So, and they're good at communicating with us.
Okay, anything else? I'm not gonna say anything. I'll just call for a vote. Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Howard?
Yes.
Mrs. Schrader?
Yes.
Albert Park?
Yes.
Ms. Payne?
Yes.
Pastor Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Corley?
Yes.
Dr. Ashton?
Yes, motion passes 7-0.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Good luck with that.
Thanks.
May our scores soar. Had success at the upper levels on the interface of the new curriculum. Okay, that brings us to item number 12, operations. I love operations. Resolution authorizing the interim superintendent to enter negotiations and provide employee health insurance premium relief.
It's a long one.
Yeah.
Good evening, Board. Board of Education, Mr. Hart, Seth Oldfield, Director of Operations, and I'm before you tonight to present this resolution. If adopted, it would authorize the interim superintendent to enter negotiations with the Danville Education Association and the International Union of Operating Engineers Local 399, which represents our custodial and food service staff, for the purpose of providing employee health insurance premium relief. It would further authorize the interim superintendent to provide premium relief to all employees of the school district over 3 years through expenditures not to exceed $462,000 in calendar year 2025 and 22% of individual and dependent employee premiums for calendar years 2026 and 2027. We believe relief over 3 years is necessary to allow the Health Insurance Committee time to address the issues with the district's health insurance plans in a thoughtful and responsible way. Cost containment is a process that requires time, patience, and diligence.
What say you, board? Anyone want to make a motion to approve this motion?
So moved. I second.
I have a motion and a second. Questions or comments? I'm sure we should have some.
Is this to enter into negotiations, or are there two parts to this resolution?
Enter negotiations and authorizing the superintendent to provide relief through those negotiations.
So there are dollars attached to this resolution?
Yes.
Okay.
Not to exceed
Right.
462.
Mhm.
100,000.
So with this, ultimately, do you anticipate this would end up being an amendment to our bargaining agreement is currently in place? Is that how
There'd be
that-
memorandum of agreement for both unions.
Could you just kind of bring us up to speed, maybe the community, just how we got to this place?
Long story, yes. I've been on the insurance committee, I think, for 3 or 4 years now. Every year there's an increase. We always anticipated something in the neighborhood of 8%. We were able to head off a significant increase, I believe, in 2023 by narrowing our provider network and entering what's called Blue Choice Select with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois. And that ended up being an 11% reduction in premiums that really helped us out that year. Then we got our renewal for 2024, and I think we were looking at 26% increase then. And this year, our increase started out at, I want to say it was 43%. So we split up some plans, offered more options so that everyone, had a price point that they felt comfortable with and the coverage. But a lot of this is driven by costs and our subscribers, our employees' habits and going to the doctor, and we really need to look at putting some preventative programs in place to help contain these costs. And so part of this, behind the scenes, the committee is looking at a new broker and consultant to lead us down a different path.
Would you say that this is kind of indicative of the insurance world everywhere?
We were told by our broker that 43% was pretty common with groups our size this year.
That's a big pill to swallow.
It's huge.
Okay, I mean, and that's okay, and that's why we're here, because there's only so much that was in the insurance fund to be able to fund this, and it seemed to exceed that by those premium increases. So there's only a couple ways to make the to make the plan balance. It's put on the backs of the employees, okay, and have rate increases by to everybody out there, or come up with more money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so our part here is we'll come up with a little more money, but in the future we have to readdress the insurance situation, because we can't have this. We've already talked about this, okay, but this is for the public, so that the public knows, or not the public, so the staff knows, okay, we're aware of the situation, okay, and it's not like we're just shoving it under the door we're working on it and trying to come up with something that's sustainable instead of just a Band-Aid every time that this comes up, which will be work for the future board. But seriously, and it's a big thing. So, working on it. This is just to help. Okay, so that's why we want to put this in place. It's some help. It doesn't solve the whole thing, and it doesn't pay all the premiums for this year by a long shot. So, but it's helpful.
100%. It gives us time to explore cost containment strategies, look at other carriers, get creative, either with self-funding or remain fully insured. There are a lot of
almost everything needs to be or should be on the table. So, but that'll be an interesting discussion. So.
Including looking at a new broker.
Okay, so we're just voting to let's have the talk, talk, and we've authorized a number here.
I actually have a question for Ms. Pabst, and that is, as far as when we're recruiting people to come and work here at our district, as I understand it, our healthcare benefit it's a very strong part of our package that we offer, and it's very helpful for people to come here, I think. And so I just wanted you to be able to speak to what having a strong healthcare package does as far from your perspective, from being able to both bring people to the district and also have people decide to stay with us. Maybe I wanted you to have an opportunity to speak to that.
The healthcare, obviously, it's very important.
But could you say that to the community, because they really need to be done. Thanks.
All right, good evening, board. Kimberly Pabst, Director of Human Resources. We just came from a recruitment fair today, Ms. Marquisha and EIU. Is it important? Absolutely, it's important. It obviously depends on who we're talking with. We do stress it to potential applicants when we talk with them. Is it currently what it used to be a year ago? No, it's not. So, is it where we want it to be? Personally, no, it's not. We are competitive. We look at the other counties around us. We look at the districts our size around us. Those that have packages that are somewhat better than ours right now, it's a very minimal time frame that they will have that type of package. But we do our research on what other, and the whole committee does, of what other districts are offering compared to ours, and we've been very competitive. This year has been difficult. It's difficult, very difficult, and it's very difficult for keeping the employees that we have. I shouldn't say very difficult. It's difficult to keep the employees that we have. It's hurting people.
Are these the premiums that went into effect 1/1?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Well, I would like to say I'm sorry to the staff that it took us 2 months to get this on the agenda.
Yeah, it's definitely.
It's a lot of premiums out of 2 months' checks.
And we have as a team, I appreciate the feedback that we're getting from employees. So it's not just those that we're recruiting, it's those that are here. Mm-hmm. And a lot of us are on different pay scales, and it hurts a lot of us differently. I mean, we have a lot of employees that work for the insurance that this affects big time. So
do you anticipate, and this, I don't know who this question's really to.
All of us, yeah.
Do you anticipate that should Mr. Hart be able to get this thing adjusted, and I'm sure he can, do you anticipate that those premiums will go down, or do you anticipate that this is going to be yet in a different cycle? How is it going to affect our staff?
Our hope is that it will go down. I can. Okay, go ahead.
So our hope is sometime in March, preferably the first pay cycle in March, but it's really going to depend on how quickly we can get numbers entered into our accounting system, but provide immediate relief to the staff through a reduction in their premiums.
So this is going forward, no retro, correct?
No retro,
correct. For so long, what did we say, 3 years? For 3 years. I mean, we're going to face this issue time and time again. It's not going to stop. But I mean, I want that to be known too. Like, this is not something that's going to stop, and it's not just here, unfortunately. But if we can give some relief for the next few years and figure out what's next, that's the step in the right direction and where we need to go.
We're just asking for money and time. We'll get it figured out. Money, mainly.
Money. let me get the money.
But I do want to recognize DEA President, Mr. Rivers, for bringing awareness to
goodness,
this at the meeting. It was needed, and so thank you for doing that.
He has been there every step of the way reminding us.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Seeing none, we're voting on premium relief, 406 up to $462,000 authorized to be able to negotiate that. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Schrader?
Yes.
Ms. Tang?
Yes.
Mrs. Gordon?
Yes.
Mrs. Holler?
Yes.
Elder Park?
Yes.
Dr. Evans?
Yes, motion passes 7-0. Thank you very much. Good luck with that. Item 13, pre-K expansion at North Campus.
Good evening, Board. Mr. Hart, Chris Rice, Director of Early Learning. I'm joined up here by Mrs. Bailey, Mr. Oldfield. We want to take the opportunity this evening just to provide you a status update on our North Campus facility, which is formerly Carl Clinic up north. Just a reminder, we started the year at 24. We entered into the lease agreement last spring, and as we've entered the 24-25 school year, the facility first was used for housing our students from KDBA and our Laura Lee program as renovations were being completed at the KDA building in the fall. It wasn't quite ready to go at the beginning of the year. So from August to December, KDBA staff and students attended the North Campus as renovations were completed. Then we really got into phase one of our North Campus facility. In January, our Birth to 3 program transitioned to the North Campus. That program consists of 8 home visitors and 2 intake coordinators. They're in all of our Birth to 3 outreach programs, community events. In the past, those staff members were housed across the street at the Jackson building and have been able to transition as the first phase of this new facility, as well as our operations department, who transitioned their offices to the North Campus in January as well. You can kind of see here, we just included a couple pictures. So as you enter the North Campus, this is just the lobby area as you walk in, and you can see there all of the pamphlets of information where we provide a lot of resources to the parents and community outreach groups. And probably the area the girls have done a lot of work, just in addition to their offices, which they're proud to have their own offices. But this is our event community room for our events that our program hosts, as well as just the outreach program. So you can kind of see this used to be the pharmacy area back in the day. But this is everything that the girls do as far as bringing in, networking, providing a lot of supports to not just the families enrolled in our program, but to different events and outreach programs that take place as well. So this is where we're kind of currently at with the upgrades. Moving forward, if things go our way, our hopes are to, beginning with the 25-26 school year, to move 4 of our half-day classrooms that are currently based at Southwest Elementary to the North Campus. So that would serve approximately 160 students. Reason being the half-day programs, it's your traditional pre-K where we would have students there in the morning, a new group of kids there in the afternoon. The needs are a little different than those that are enrolled in our full-day programs, which exist between Southwest and Edison Elementary schools. That would leave, if that transition happens for that group of students, that would leave 3 special education classrooms still at Southwest, along with 5 full-day classrooms. Those will remain at Southwest Elementary School, as well as currently we still have 2 full-day classrooms as part of Edison Elementary School. And Mrs. Bailey has some updates as well.
I have a question.
Yes.
Now, the Laura Lee students still at, because I didn't see it listed.
Yeah, so our Laura Lee students, we had approximately 8 to 10 students that were going through Laura Lee. And those students, we monitored the progress they were making, and it just kind of worked out that they were ready to transition either to KDBA, back to the high school. So we thought the semester break was the perfect time for those students to make that transition as we started second semester. So currently, those students have just transitioned into other alternative platforms.
Okay, thank you.
Good question.
So good evening, board. One of the things, you know, when you ask special ed to dream big, we dream big, right? Our 18 to 22-year-old program is currently housed at Danville High School. That's not the most appropriate placement for them. So one of the things that we have the ability to do if we're looking at some renovations is to provide them a space that makes sense for them. And we kind of coined Trails as that program, and we could look at adding a kitchen and other life skills vocational work areas. You know, these are the kids that are working on vocational and life skills like making a bed, cleaning a kitchen, and those kind of things. We'd like to set up like a mini apartment. And also just looking at, you know, if space allows, we have a lot of students, and I know that Mrs. Button has talked to you about the need for virtual opportunities and things like that. We have a lot of kids that need something different. So we have a lot of kids on homebound, home hospital right now. So a space where tutors, teachers can meet with those kids. Doesn't have to be big, but you know, the library is not always the best place. We want them in our own buildings. And then one of the things Mr. Rice and I are talking about is just making sure that the preschool area is the best place that it can be. Our pre-K team fits into all kinds of spaces at Southwest to do assessments. We're bringing parents in. We're trying to do the best we can. But the space that we have there that was not designed for preschool to do play-based evaluations that our team has been trained to do, we don't have space for that. So building a dedicated space for that would be amazing, and I think a recruiting tactic as well. I don't know.
Hello, Seth Oldfield again, and I'd like to give a few highlights of the lease that we will present as part of the resolution that you will possibly vote on as the next agenda item. Before I go into those details, I'd just like to recognize Mr. Marty Smith with Carl Health, the real estate, finance, and legal teams at Carl, and the Carl Foundation for their kindness, creativity, and flexibility throughout this process. As many of you know, Carl really came through for the district by providing us with additional space at the North Campus to temporarily house KDBA during their renovation. This enabled KDBA students to begin their classes on time in August of last year. Carl provided this additional space at no cost to the district. In addition, they've been wonderful to work with, Marty especially, while we negotiated terms for a new lease to allow us to occupy the entire facility. So thank you again. The lease that we will present tonight as part of the resolution to expand pre-K space in the district will result in no additional rent due from the district, so no additional money. Instead, we propose that the district assume responsibility for facility maintenance and other relevant facility expenses. The new lease incorporates the entire facility at 2300 North Vermillion Street and will allow us to serve the community through the many programs outlined earlier. The proposed, the proposed lease term is 9 years, 5 months, with the option to purchase at any point during the first term of the lease. And I would strongly urge the board to exercise that option when funds are available for it. Thank you.
Did you tell us the cost of the lease earlier?
There's no additional rent due.
Hang on. Because if we're gonna talk about the lease, let's please have the motion, and then we can ask that question, okay? I hate to do that to you every time on this, Alice, but he just gave us the information, and if we're gonna question the information, we need to have the motion. So, would you like to make a motion?
President, would you like
Yes, I would
questions
like to
on
make a motion.
13A first?
Okay. I'm sorry, what?
Would you like questions on 13A first, since we're moved to 13B?
We can go back and do both,
Perfect.
okay? So I have the motion. Do you have a second?
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Okay, any questions on either the information you given on the space or the lease? open to the floor. Go ahead, Alan.
That's the same question. The cost of the lease. You pay for 10 years every year.
For the entire lease, for the space we are already leasing. Is that your question?
No, the amount is my question.
The amount. I don't have that figure in front of me, but I think it's $560,000 per year.
Okay.
It increases, I think, by 3% every year.
Okay.
The first year.
I think you gave it to us earlier, but I didn't bring that with me. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I can definitely get you the exact number. Yes.
I actually had a question for Mr. Rice. That first of all, the pictures of the play area made me want to go play there. I looked really, it looked exciting to see what you've
Starting to
done
come
in that
together, for
area.
sure.
Is there a plan, like in the bigger plan, to at some point have all the pre-K under one roof? Because we've got now
Yeah.
Southwest and Edison, and now the North Campus.
Yes, so we talked about, this is kind of like phase one. We wanted to get a program there, definitely heading into next year where we looked at the half-day programs. Definitely will be a process with Skip and Tyler, who are working with us to come up with those plans to go long-term. But definitely the end result of all of this has always been to have a Birth to 5 center. So when things, evolve, we will have, 15 to 18 classrooms, a cafeteria, a sensory room, motor skill area, 2 playgrounds. So we will have all the bells and whistles and can put all of our students in one facility. Our goal is to be able to serve, because we have a program now that houses a lot of kids. We're about 280 just at Southwest. Some of those full days, some, half-day sessions, plus our kids at Edison. But we do have a lot of students on a waiting list that there is no place to put them, in a program right now. And
Well,
a
that
lot
was
of
my
the
follow-up
supports.
question. There's a massive need in our community
Yes.
for 0 to
Yeah, we continue to do screening. Students continue to qualify. We just don't have the space to house additional students, and it's not just a Danville problem. That's across. Our program also, funds and maintains the entire Vermilion County. So this is a need all across the county. Our vision when this is complete is we would be able to house approximately 500 students pre-K at the North Campus.
And as far as recruiting, that Ms. Bailey said, that it's the facility itself is going to be we anticipate it's going to be a draw for the staff that would be love to work in a place like this.
Yeah.
How much more staff do we think we would need to have our big vision of 500 students?
You're talking adding some additional classrooms. We've been really good. I was just going through our staffing today, and we've got some people that are already applying and interested. I think it's going to be a huge recruitment resource as far as people are just going to want the opportunity to be a part of it. So I feel like it's going to serve a lot of our needs. And really, don't want to speak for Mrs. Bailey, but when you have students at several different entities, different buildings, you're trying to spread your resources. We got to serve students here. We have to students there. If we have everything under one roof, it makes us a lot easier to staff and meet those student needs.
And one last question. I'm sorry, Ms.
You're
Crowley.
okay.
The coffee truck, will it be up there, or is that what you're envisioning? It's going to move there?
Not necessarily. Some of the students that stay in the 18 to 22 year old program are some of our most high needs students.
Okay.
And so the kids that are really running that coffee truck, we're trying to get from across the board, from students in general education and in some of our self-contained settings. So these kids right now, a lot of them we partner with Crosspoint and send them to Crosspoint for a big portion of the day, just because not to reinvent the wheel and for spacing at Danville High School. We have a really large population and a staff. We're working on staffing, but if you have a dedicated program with a kitchen, with different things, like I said, people, the special education department, even just hearing about an assessment room, they were like, "Oh, that's so cool!" Nobody else thinks that's cool, right? That's just who we are. So I think you could draw staff and that really want to work on that program and get those kids out in the community. So it'd almost be like a hub for them as well to be at could we get other partnerships with the YMCA and those things to get them those skills to get out to in the community as much as possible. Okay. But I agree with Mr. Rice in terms of the staffing. Special education staffing, you might even be able to do it with a little bit less because right now they're spread across 3 buildings. That's travel time. That's a lot of different things. If they're all right there, it makes it just that much easier.
Thank you.
Okay, the care program, is that part of this too? Or is it separate? Are you gonna combine them?
It's just the first phase of it. So the goal is when we say a birth to 5 centers, being able to serve our newborns and young parents, as well as, once students turn 3 years old, to help transition from that program right to preschool in the same building.
Okay.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Are we still looking at a daycare facility in this building?
Yeah, so one of those phases when it's complete that we've tossed around is we would really like to offer that opportunity to staff in our district to provide a daycare program on site as well in the district, and I think that can probably be one of the biggest recruiting tools. As there's a lot of different regulations that would go with that, but it's not so preschool based, so there'd have to be some planning in that. But definitely, that's been one of the early goals when we went to this idea.
I think because of our numbers that you said, how many students we hope to serve, how many students are on a waiting list. I can say from early meetings with the committee that that was what appealed to Carl officials the most. They saw a need to service the youngest in our population, and they also expressed wanting to have a footprint in the community beyond the new facility at the riverfront. And so they're very supportive and will continue to be good partners, I think.
The one thing I've learned from stepping into this role, 3 years ago, was a lot of the community resources are fading away. A lot of different organizations that we're targeting that, Birth to 3 group, for example, and helping, families in our community. And there's just not as many resources available. So I feel like this is an opportunity to kind of, take the lead on that and be able to bring some of that back for sure.
Any other questions? For the daycare, like it's in the future. I mean, we're looking like
It's not in phase 2, no, but it's definitely on the radar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the initial when they talked about it. It said that was one of the big sellers to me on it. Was
Yeah, I think
that's
as you
absolutely
are
awesome.
knocking down walls and turning it
Yeah.
into a pre-K facility, we probably need to get that accomplished first, and then.
But it's happening,
Yeah.
and our sign is out in front. You
It
don't
is.
have any idea how many. What's District 118 doing? And I'm going, where have you been? We've been talking about this for a while, but then every time we go, we explain it. Oh, that's good. You're voting on the lease for the building, for the Carl building. It's starting at $500,000, right? I'm
No,
looking-
so we're gonna do that as part of the resolution.
Yeah. So, and it goes up. So, a roll call vote. If there are any other questions? Seeing none?
The resolution is the next item. Resolution is the next item.
Yeah, they went on to the next. They had questions.
We're getting it.
If I could just answer Ms. Payne's question about the rent real quick.
Absolutely.
I have it, the rent schedule here. I don't know for 24, 25, because Carl offered it to us at half the rental rate. And I think Ms. Franken can get that number for us. But for 25, 26, it's $540,500. Sorry.
Looking at it, that's what I just said. And why I said it. There's a number. Okay. Any other questions? If not, roll call vote, please.
Dr. Ashton, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I'm
I just
sorry.
want to make sure
I'm sorry.
I am on the same one as you guys. Is the Exhibit A Danville School District, the commercial lease, the lease agreement, the landlord and tenant, is that the one we're voting on? I only ask because Dr. Geddes' name is still on the lease agreement. I didn't know if that mattered.
The lease will be updated with the correct contact information.
Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to make
Yeah,
sure.
we're not going to sign this one tonight.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Payne?
Yes.
Mrs. Corley?
Yes.
Elder Parks?
Yes.
Pastor Miller,
Yes.
Mrs. Schrader,
Yes.
Mrs. Howard,
Yes.
Dr. Ashton.
Yes, motion passes 7-0. Thank you, guys. Look forward to the progress as I drive by. Busy tonight, board. Transportation bid.
I am number 14. Good evening, board, Mr. Hart, D118 family. I am Narcissus Rankin, Director of Business and Finance. And this evening, board, I am here because my transportation agreement with First Student will be coming to an end at the end of FY25. So I am asking permission to go out to bid for transportation for a 5-year bid beginning with FY26 and ending in FY30. So
Okay.
I'm just asking for permission to put the bid out there.
This is just for the request to go to bid for transportation. Do I have a motion for that, please?
So move.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. Any questions or comments?
Question.
You first.
Either one.
Do we have, is there another company around here besides First Student?
So we usually do have 2 to 3 bidders, but last year did we have 2? 1. Or 2 years ago we had 2. So it just depends on who. And I think sometimes they, transportation companies don't like to bid for shorter agreements because they have to move, their buses and that's a transition for them. So maybe with a 5-year request, we might get some more bidders.
Is working with a leasing company more beneficial than owning our own fleet and doing it ourselves?
You know what? I will have to look into that. We've always had a third party, well, as long as I've been here, vendor. So,
Right now, employing drivers is very difficult. Bus drivers, they work broken days. So the hiring, the firing, more insurance, licensing. Right now, I believe it's most beneficial for the district to remain in a lease.
I'm sorry for putting you on the spot with that,
That's
Ms.
okay.
Rankin, because I had a feeling that Mr. Hart had the answer, and he knows I think we need our own fleet, but I do.
A lot of districts employ transportation companies, and for that reason, it's really difficult. And at the school board convention, yeah, there's just a plethora of companies out there, and the districts are availing themselves of their services. So
And I can say, been there, done that.
we have done
Yes, we have.
So-
And it was difficult.
that. So, but it's always good to ask the question and reevaluate. Perhaps the climate changes. That's something that you can take up in the future. But for this evening, we're looking for a request to go to bid for 5 years for our transportation. Any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none? Roll call vote, please.
Elder Park,
Yes.
Mrs. Howard,
Yes.
Mrs. Corley,
Yes.
Ms. Payne,
Yes.
Mrs. Schrader,
Yes.
Pastor Miller.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion passes 7-0. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Informational items. Congratulations, guys. Thanks, Doc. Bye, Terry. What do you have for us? Some information?
Yes, good evening, Mr. Hart and Board of Education. I'm Kelly Truex, Director of Ed Support, up again. It's hard to believe that we are starting summer opportunities already. Well, I mean, we've been working on them for a while, but we will be offering the University of Illinois summer engineering camps. These are residential camps for our incoming, Danville High School incoming sophomores, juniors, and seniors. Book 1, which is the engineering booklet, has already been mailed out on February 3rd. We had this year 8 applications, which is more than we've had. Actually, it's 3 more than we've had. We submitted them today. So the applications go to the U of I, then the U of I will let us know. We almost always have our applicants get accepted. So I'm excited about that. And we just sent our book 2, which is our fine arts camps, to the printer today. We have separated out like the music, and we invited Brian Klett to go around and talk to the music teachers. We now have 21 people interested in the music camps. So we should have close to 35 or 40 people this year. So I'm very excited about that. And this is all paid for using Title IV funds. So just, yes, Title IV is our fine arts and well-rounded. So I put that in Title IV. So this is just informational only that these are mailed to families. They can get help at the high school from guidance counselors filling out the application. They can call my office. But this is, I believe, our 3rd or 4th year we've done this, so people are expecting it. Just wanted to put that out there.
So all the students at the high school get these?
Yes.
Okay.
Great. Well, incoming sophomores, juniors,
Right.
and seniors.
Okay.
It's a residential camp.
Right.
So we don't have freshmen stay, but
Okay.
we've had very good luck. Our students have represented us well, and it's been a really good program. So, any questions?
And it's nice and close.
Yeah, it is, and the people at the U of I are great to work with. So it's growing. Our program's growing.
Thank you very much. Okay, that should bring us to adjournment. Oh, no, superintendent and board. What do you have for us?
First of all, I'd like to mention Southview Upper Elementary and the students there. I don't know if any of you follow Facebook, have been out to the school, but for Valentine's Day, the staff shared the, or taught the students how to do the Cupid Shuffle. It was pretty awesome. Kudos to them. We've also had 4 Mead Park students honored at the Vermilion County Museum for placing in the Abraham Lincoln birthday poster. Serenity Austin, Cassius Valdez Humphreys, Sincere Perry, and Miquez Williams. Congratulations to DHS students, Tavion Diltz, and here we go, I'm going to tear up this name, Juhakira Harris, received the Martin Luther King Jr. Scholarship. Usually there's 1 recipient. This year they were 2, so congratulations to them. Who said that? Thank you. So just to highlight the staff for a minute, again, we had at Mark Denman Elementary, Mr. Bodine and Mr. Lockhart for Valentine's Day, serenaded the students. It was pretty awesome to see the staff out there having fun with the kids, so they really enjoyed that. And then Mrs. Frazier, I know Mrs. Bailey, where'd she go? She's somewhere. She just talked about her. Mrs. Frazier actually started a new program where once a week she's making, or she's not making, the students at Danville High School and Special Education Department are making snacks, coffee, lunches. They've had soup and salad for lunch, and it's been very well received by all the staff, but especially the staff here, right? So just wanted to say kudos to them. The last thing I have is just an announcement. The 5 Essential Survey is out. Please, parents, make sure that you look for that. It's on every school's website, their Facebook page. I know schools are sending home flyers. Make sure that you take that survey. The information that we get is very valuable to the school district. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Let's go from left to right today.
It's always the left. I want to congratulate about the Albert H. Small Normandy Institute. They are going to be so overwhelmed and appreciative once they see the American graves. Kudos to the students at Katie Bailey leaving early, graduating. The Laura Lee kids have been weaned from their program back into the regular classrooms. I always appreciate the public comments. We don't always like what's said, but sometimes it's necessary to say it. And I'm looking forward, I want to look at the new reading materials that we are purchasing for 4 years. And that's all I have. Oh, and kudos to Mr. Hart as our interim superintendent. I don't know if I said that last time, but I'm very thankful that you are at the helm.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna say ditto.
There you go.
I'm almost going to say ditto, but not quite. Kudos to Bailey and Miss Woods. They are going worldwide with what Danville has to offer, and that makes me very proud. Thank you to all of you that came back, took my challenge and came back tonight. We still had some empty seats, but thank you for showing up tonight. I appreciate it. Thank you to the Hall of Fame committee and the work that you did. I know a lot of work goes into that. Thank you. And the pre-K team for all they're doing to prepare Carl North. Oh, and I'm sorry, District 118 North. I got to get used to saying that. So thank you for all the work that you're doing. I did get to visit, and I did want to stay and play. It really looked like a lot of fun. And lastly, I want to recognize that our seniors, DHS seniors, who are daily receiving letters of acceptance to some remarkable, outstanding schools. We have good kids going good places, and I'm so proud of them. So I just want to say thank you to the teachers who helped get them there and the counselors, and kudos, kids. Go make us proud.
You wait till the end?
Go ahead.
Okay, perfect. I want to say thanks to Mr. Hightower, Ms. Rothwell, for your comments. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for caring. Ms. Kelly, thank you. And I'm so happy for you that you're getting some relief. Yeah, just really happy for you about that. And thank you for being a trailblazer. To Miss Bailey Easton and Lori Woods, wow, thank you for making us proud. And to Dr. Rokosh and to Dr. Artie Lee Travis, it's very exciting to have Dr. Rokosh here, and he's such a humble person that he used his time to honor our staff. Did you notice that? What a guy. So deserving. And then lastly, to our birth to 3 and pre-K. I've said this many times. I think that's the best kept secret in Danville. We are so good at what we do there, and we are just thank you, Mr. Rice, your whole team. We're so good at what we do, and very, very, very happy for the vision that you all are causing to be created here. And well done.
Thank you.
I want to say ditto to the remarks of Sister Shannon. Again, thank you all for being here tonight. I am overwhelmed and overjoyed for Ms. Woods and Bailey. I'm looking forward to when they do return and sharing with us what they found as they search out the contribution that the African Americans made during that time in our history. So again, I am truly looking forward to that. So again, God bless each and every one of you.
I too agree with everything that they said about our district and our staff. A lot of good stuff going on. I also want to thank all the parents, the DHS archery teams, and the JRTC. They had a 3D competition at the field house for the archery, and it is a huge undertaking. We co-hosted it with Armstrong. It's the second year that we've done that. We had a really good turnout, so I want to thank all the parents, all the volunteers. It takes everyone to pull that off. We have 3 more. We are hosting state for JRTC 3D and state for the NASP. So we have a lot going on in the archery world for our district, and I think we're making a name for ourselves. So I'm very proud of the students We've been to nationals twice, and we may be invited to World this year. So I think that's huge for our district. I'm very proud of them. I want to tell First Sergeant Powell, just thank you. He has taken on a lot, and really appreciate the dedication. He spends a lot of hours at the school. So just want to thank him for that. And with that, that is all I have at this time.
Thank you, everybody. Everybody's been thanked and appreciated. I agree with that, all of it. We will be going back into closed session to take care of some of the business that we still need to take care of. We will not be coming back into open session for anything, so there's nothing to be worried about there. And with that, we will adjourn this portion of the meeting. Thank you very much.